البنجة فرقة فرق دقة ساعة العمل دقة ساعة الزعف دقة ساعة الانتصار لا رجوع دقة ساعة العمل حسبت بالملايين.
Welcome back to the Florida CME Group here in Chicago, Monday, February 28th. I'm Killer from Treasury Curve. Treasury Curve is an institutional money market portal. We assist firms in their overnight cash management. Let's get into the zone, baby, the cash money zone. Here we go. A lot of continued political unrest continues to escalate in the Middle East. We are watching that, monitoring that, especially in Libya. The violence is escalating. However, the market does not seem to be bothered by that this morning. I think the biggest thing that was present in the market this morning is Fed President, St. Louis President James Bullard. He was on CNBC. You can check out the interview. It was a very interesting clip. And one of the main points that he alluded to was the possibility they could curtail QE2. Now, that is a great scenario. Clearly, they're going to try and, like Uncle Ben has always had his foot on the brake, foot on the gas, they're going to try and measure that properly. But I think if any of these headwinds, domestically, we have the municipality situation, the sovereign debt. Does anyone even talk about sovereign debt anymore? Ireland, Greece, Portugal, all these different moving parts over there are slowly moving upwards. But most importantly is oil. Does oil sustain its legs above $100 a barrel? And in the event it does, clearly that's inflationary, but at the same time that has the potential to trump inflation here and actually put us down in the market and rotate out of the stock market into the bonds for that flight to quality trade we have seen last week. So we will see if James Bullard is right here. Clearly the Fed puts him out there and lets him be their speaking box to kind of feel out the market. But if any of these situations escalate, the QE2 curtail will get trumped by a potential hiccup in the recovery. So I think that is a paramount focus this week. This week we have a lot of data coming out. The job information. Let's look at that ADP. That's the wild card, folks. That Wednesday ADP. You tell me if you want to play it. It's a little too hot for my liking. But Friday, the non-farm payroll, we'll look to that and see if we have some growth there. Let's drill down on these treasuries. We're clearly trading the June contract now. We've seen some strength in the 10-year, as well as the continued bid in the 30-year. And that is that flight to quality trade we have seen for the first time in the market since essentially last November. Last week we saw them come grab those bonds. We saw those yields come down. That 30-year is at 4.5%. The 10-year is about 3.5%. We'll see if those rates stay around there as all these different headwinds kind of normalize or drop. The S&P, we saw a phenomenal bounce last week off a 1292 level. We were looking for it to touch that 50-day at 1285. We didn't get it, folks, but it has bounced. And ever since Bullard spoke this morning, overnight, the S&P was actually down, testing that 1275 level. That was the level post-data on Friday that we tested, and we rallied up to that 20 level. So we'll see, but right now we're testing this 1331 level. I've kind of tweeted that out, and you can get me on my Twitter @TheKiller, but I tweeted that is the 1331 killer ceiling. We'll see if that comes in. Above there, we could possibly retest the highs we put in 2 weeks ago. I don't see that though. 1331 should be a good cap here. And 1318, it's been a great level, as well as 1308. So let's see how we rotate down in the event. Look at 1318, look at 1308 as support. Euro currency up nearly a penny overnight. We saw 138.55 is a key level here. 137 even is the weekly pivot. And the 100-day is way down at 135.41. This euro currency is looking at this oil, no doubt about it. And they want to curb inflation by raising rates. So they are actually pricing that in. In the event oil moves too fast, too quick, they can't raise rates. Therefore, the currency could be susceptible to some retracement. From the floor of the CME Group, I'm the Killer. Have a great week trading. And remember one thing this week, be the hammer, not the nail.
من الصحراء للصحراء حسبها بالملايين. الملايين تذهب وما يقدر حد يوقفها. بسرعة بسرعة معي الملايين مش من الداخل. معي الملايين من الأوروبا. أنا اللي عند الوجه نداء إلى كل ملايين الصحراء.